In 2017, a group of Korean YouTubers entered an abandoned psychiatric hospital just outside Seoul. They never expected to find anything real, they just wanted to make viral content. Just doing screams and acting scared for their videos. But during a live stream, the feed suddenly got cut off. The screen went black for nearly 45 seconds. And when it came back on, one of them was missing. The remaining group claimed she had wandered off, but wouldn't explain what she saw before she vanished. All they'd say was that it happened near room 402, a sealed room, that after the hospital closing, no one had ever been able to open. To this day, no one knows what truly happened inside the walls of this hospital. For a long time, the building stood rotting, graffiti smeared, and choked in vines. Locals used to say it is cursed. That the patients didn't just die there, they stayed. YouTubers who ventured inside usually reported sudden nausea, disorientation, and hallucinations. One even claimed to hear a voice whispering his name from the vents. All the footage inspired a film, a movie that left audiences gasping, and that even got banned in several theaters for being too realistic. Now, if you know what movie this is, pause the video, drop it in the comments, and see if you were right. The movie based on this hospital is Gonjiam, Haunted Asylum, a 2018 South Korean horror film, based on the real Gonjiam mental hospital. What many people mostly don't realize, is that the movie wasn't fully fiction at all. The room numbers, the blueprints, the urban legend, it's all stuff that people have claimed to have happened for real. This is just one of many Asian horror films that are based on places that really exist, with hauntings that really happened. Welcome to the Glimp. In Tokyo's Naruma ward, tucked between quiet residential streets and old shrines, there's a house that no one wants to live in. Not because it's expensive, but because it's cursed. The last family that moved in didn't last a month. The mother claimed she would wake in the middle of the night, to the sound of someone crawling, not walking, across the tatami floor. The child refused to sleep upstairs, saying a boy with no eyes kept staring at him from the ceiling. When a Shinto priest came to bless the house, he left mid-ritual, pale, shaking, and totally silent. The house has sat empty ever since, and the property agent won't show it to anyone anymore. The neighbors avoid it. It's the inspiration for one of Japan's most infamous horror films. A movie where rage becomes a spirit, and death spreads like a virus. Ju-on, The Grudge, the cursed home of Kayako and Toshio. A film so deeply tied to Japanese ghost lore that it blurred the lines between fiction and something else. What most fans don't know is this. Director Takashi Shimizu was inspired by real stories from multiple locations in suburban Tokyo, homes marked by sudden deaths, disappearances, and suicides. And in one case, a property where every single resident moved out within 30 days, citing unexplainable fear, hallucinations, and in 2 cases, reported possession. In central Beijing, hidden behind walls of ivy and shadow, there's a mansion that no one dares enter. Number 81, Choingmen Nai Street. Or as locals call it, the house that never dies. From the outside, it looks like a Gothic dream, red brick walls, arched windows, French-style balconies. But step too close, and the air shifts. Visitors have reported hearing whispers, the sound of heels on hardwood floors, and seeing a woman staring down from the top floor. Problem is, that floor's been empty for over 70 years. The legend goes that during the fall of the Qing dynasty, a high-ranking official abandoned his wife in the house. Heartbroken and shamed, she hung herself in the attic. Since then, anyone who tries to live there leaves within days, or never leaves at all. Beijing real estate agents refuse to list it. Construction crews won't work there after dark. One man even claimed the house followed him, that he kept seeing the windows of number 81 in his dreams, no matter where he went. In 2014, a film crew decided to shoot a horror movie based on the stories. And they gave the movie the same name as the locals would call it, The House That Never Dies. What no one expected was that filming would stir up something real. Lights on set flickered constantly. Actors grew sick without explanation. One production assistant swore she saw someone walk behind her, but the cameras showed no one. Despite this, the film was released, and became one of China's biggest horror hits ever. But it left people wondering. Was it just a movie, or was it a warning? In Bangkok's skyline, surrounded by glass and light, there's one structure that stands frozen in time. An unfinished 49-story skyscraper. Gray, hollow, and broken. It's called the Sathorn Unique Tower. But locals just call it the Ghost Tower. Construction began in the early 90s. A luxury condo project meant to symbolize Thailand's economic rise. Then the 1997 Asian financial crisis hit, and the funding dried up. The building was abandoned mid-construction. But people claim that something stayed behind. Since then, dozens of people have jumped from the upper floors without any apparent reason. Some say that the tower is haunted. That the spirits of those who died during construction or in suicide now guard the building. In 2017, Thai director Sophan Soktaphizit brought this legend to the screen with his film, The Promise. The movie tells the story of two girls who make a suicide pact inside the tower during the crisis. The Promise was filmed on location, inside the actual Sathorn Unique Tower. And the crew didn't leave unscathed. Multiple cast and crew members reported bizarre electrical problems, cameras failing, batteries dying instantly. One actor even refused to enter certain floors, saying they felt wrong, knowing what had happened there. After filming, a spiritual consultant was brought in. After several nightmares were reported across the team, they all shared the same dream, a woman crying in the stairwell. To this day, the tower remains abandoned. Bangkok authorities warn people to stay out. The Promise may be a movie. But what it's based on is very, very real. In the Philippines, ghost stories aren't just passed down. They're invited in through a ritual so common, that it has a nickname. It's called Spirit of the Glass. You don't need a Ouija board. Just a sheet of paper and a drinking glass. In Filipino tradition, the Spirit of the Glass is more than a game. It's a doorway. For decades, teenagers and thrill seekers have used this ritual to try to summon spirits, not always knowing what they've called in or if they have even succeeded at all. Some people speak in tongues, some claim to be possessed. And others go missing for hours, and don't remember where they've been. In 2017, a horror film attempted to capture it all. But the filmmakers got more than they expected. Written and directed by Jose Javier Reyes, the film follows a group of modern-day influencers who try to make contact with the dead for content. But what they awake, eventually follows them back. Filmed partially in real historic homes in Baguio, the cast and crew claimed strange things started happening on set. Lights started flickering for no reason, sound equipment started picking up voices that were not in the room. One actress reportedly fainted during a possession scene, and had to be prayed over by the other crew members before continuing. The movie took a lot of inspiration from real stories. Accounts of Spirit of the Glass sessions gone wrong, often ending in sickness, delusions, or hauntings. Baguio, where filming took place, is one of the most haunted cities in the Philippines. The area saw mass deaths during World War II, old mansions still stand there, including one that locals refuse to approach at night, calling it a house of whispers. Some Filipino ghost hunters believe Spirit of the Glass invites spirits not just to speak, but to attach. Spirit of the Glass 2 isn't just a ghost movie. It's a mirror held up to a game that many people still play. In 1972, near the tail end of the Vietnam War, a South Korean military unit received a distress call. It came from a platoon that had vanished 6 months earlier. Everyone assumed they were dead, but now they were calling for help. A rescue team was sent to a place called R Point, a dense, remote jungle in southern Vietnam. They tried to make radio contact, but what they heard were not the men they were looking for. Directed by Kong Soo Chang, Our Point isn't just a war movie. It's a ghost story camouflaged in military gear. A South Korean squad is sent to investigate the distress signal. But once inside the jungle, things begin to unravel. They find a crumbling French colonial building. Graffiti in Vietnamese that reads, "Those who have blood on their hands shall not return." They start seeing soldiers that shouldn't be there, they hear voices on empty radios. One by one, they begin to lose their grip. Our Point is based on real wartime ghost legends. Korean soldiers in Vietnam were stationed in remote zones where platoons occasionally vanished without a trace. There were repeated reports of radio transmissions coming from dead soldiers, sometimes in perfect voice mimicry. Even American soldiers and Korean forces alike reported hearing phantom gunfire, singing, or footsteps circling their tents at night. These stories were passed quietly through ranks. The movie Our Point fictionalizes them, but the roots are real. Filming took place in Cambodia, in thick, humid jungle. The director said the land felt off, the silence between shots was unnatural. Crew members got lost for hours in supposedly mapped zones, and one actor reportedly had to be removed after waking up screaming in his tent, with deep scratches down his back. Our Point doesn't just haunt you with jump scares. It unsettles you by asking something darker. In a place stained by centuries of blood, what if war isn't the scariest thing that can happen to a soldier? In Mumbai, apartments are everywhere, high up, gated, and expensive. The perfect escape from the extremely busy city life below. But in one building, on one floor, behind one locked door, someone never left. Mumbai has many stories about haunted high-rises. Luxury flats that can't stay rented, balconies where people have jumped for no reason, and landlords who quietly say, "We'll offer a discount," but no questions about the last tenant. And in 2003, one film brought these stories into terrifying focus. Directed by Ram Gopal Verma, Bhoot tells the story of a newlywed couple who move into a perfect high-rise flat. What they don't know is that the last woman who lived there, threw herself off the balcony. And that something about her had stayed in the flat. What follows is one of the most claustrophobic, psychological hauntings ever put to screen. There are no songs, no comedy side plots, just a woman slowly becoming possessed, while her husband tries to understand if it's all in her head. Bhoot was inspired by multiple real-life cases in India. In Mumbai's Andheri and Malabar Hill areas, several flats were rumored to be haunted after mysterious deaths. A well-known real estate case involved a luxury apartment where 3 tenants in a row moved out after claiming to see the same ghostly woman in the hallway. Indian superstition warns against moving into homes where a person has died unnaturally, especially by suicide. It's believed that the spirit lingers, confused and angry. Urmila Matondakar's performance as the haunted wife was so intense that rumors spread she had to seek therapy after filming, something she's denied, but the speculation shows how deeply the role disturbed viewers. In early 2000s Japan, late-night paranormal specials were huge. TV stations would bring in psychic mediums, ghost hunters, even monks, to perform live exorcisms on camera. Sometimes it was staged, but sometimes, it wasn't. And one time, something went very wrong. In 1995, a major network aired an on-camera exorcism of a teenage girl that caused public panic. She screamed in a voice that wasn't hers, then collapsed on live TV. The broadcast was never aired again. But the footage leaked. It spread across tape trading circles and early internet forums. Just a few shaky, corrupted clips of a girl staring into the lens, as if she saw something standing behind the cameraman. Some say that leak, and the fear it stirred, inspired one of Japan's most disturbing found footage films. That film is Cult, a faux documentary horror that follows a real TV crew filming what was supposed to be a standard spiritual cleansing. Even though Cult is fictional, the production had its own unsettling moments. Cameras reportedly malfunctioned during specific scenes, especially near shrines. One actress fainted during a scene where the possessed girl spoke in tongues, even though she hadn't rehearsed it that way. The director paused filming twice due to bad energy on set. In interviews, he said, "We weren't scared of the story. We were scared of how easy it was to believe it." In South Jakarta lays a home that no one wants to talk about. Not because of what's inside, but because of what was once cooked there. For decades, residents have told the same story. On quiet nights, when no one is cooking, you can smell potatoes boiling. And sometimes, just beneath the smell, you can hear a child crying. According to urban legends, a woman accidentally dropped her baby into a pot of boiling potatoes. And no one knows what happened after, but they say she went mad with grief, and never left the house again. Ever since, strange sounds have echoed through the building. Flickering lights. Doors slamming. And always, that smell. Released in 2019, Rumah Kentang, the beginning dives into this infamous legend. But it doesn't start with a ghost. It starts with a family secret. A woman returns to her childhood home with her younger sister, unaware that their mother was once involved in forbidden rituals. They think they're moving into a new life. But the house remembers. And the curse is hungry. As they explore the old rooms, they begin to hear things. Then the sound of something bubbling on the stove, even though the gas isn't on. The actual Rumah Kentang stands in Jakarta's Dharmawangsa neighborhood. It's a real structure, still there today. Residents in nearby homes have reported screams at night, phantom smells of cooked food, and in one case, a woman who claimed to see a child standing outside the house at 3 a.m., with its mouth open, and its eyes missing. Even today, taxi drivers won't drop you at the gate after dark. During filming, actors and crew members reported sudden chills and nausea inside the set, and equipment failing when shooting scenes in the kitchen. One crew member even claimed to have dreams of a boy pulling his hand toward boiling water. The director later said, "This wasn't just a movie about fear. It was a movie made inside it. Unlike other haunted houses, this one doesn't trap you inside. It draws you back, by scent, by memory, by blood. And even if you walk away, you'll still smell the potatoes." These movies may have been released as fiction, but peel back the credits, and you'll find something more unsettling beneath the surface. Each of these stories ties back to real locations, places you can still visit. And behind the horror plots are historical events, local legends, and first-hand accounts. Not just rumors, but interviews, police reports, and property records. And in some cases, cast and crew who walked in skeptical, left shaking. This blending of fact and fiction isn't new in Asian horror. In many cultures, ghost stories are part of the historical record. They're how trauma is processed. How warnings are passed down. They're not just entertainment, they're documentation. And maybe that's the reason these movies still linger, because these movies don't ask you to believe in ghosts. They ask you to question what's already known. If you've heard of a horror movie based on a real haunting that I have missed, please let me know. Also, I want to thank our members and subscribers for the support. See you next time.